I'm Sara Mitchell, and I'm the University of Tennessee Vol reporter.
Okay, Sara, I would just want to know, how did you become interested in sports reporting?
The very first time that I thought this would be a cool job to have was when I was in sport management undergrad, and my class actually traveled to the communications building. So we got to see the football setup for the Coach Julie show then, and I thought I would love to be behind that desk doing that. So we got to see kind of the behind the scenes, but I thought it would be really fun to be at practice, to interview, to do the behind the scenes things that people like to see. And so that was the very first time that I thought this would be an awesome job.
Okay, so what have you kind of been doing since you've been University of Tennessee's sports reporter?
It has come kind of full circle for me. So at first I started streaming, which was everything on the internet. So we streamed all the smaller sports like baseball, volleyball, soccer, all those things that parents like to watch on the internet. So I did a lot of camera operation, I did some graphics, I did just different things with streaming the smaller sports. And then I worked up to basketball last year, and we did radio. So I worked with radio and streaming, and that was through the Vol Network, which is the media rights holder. So I got to see that side of it with sponsorship and commercials and all the things that people pay for to be on the radio and the TV. And then this year I work with football, so I'm at practice every day doing daily Vol reports, and then we do coaches interviews, we do media mash for the Coach Jones show on Sunday. So I'm always digging into Twitters and trying to find cool pictures and posts that the guys post. And then we edit, we do some things on the green screen, I script write, edit, all those things.
So it's kind of your day-to-day work and being able to go to practice and coach. So can you kind of just elaborate what you talk about when you are interviewing?
Sure. So I'll kind of walk you through a day for practice, so a Vol report in the afternoon. So practice is in the afternoon. In the morning, the producer and I will talk about kind of what angle we want to take. So if we're doing a practice report and we want to talk about the quarterbacks or the defensive backs or the linebackers, so we will go through B-roll from earlier in the week and look at the previous game. We'll pick out some good things, some bad things, and then we always schedule an interview with that coach, so the quarterback's coach or Coach Jones, if we can grab him after practice. And then we'll pick 2 or 3 prime players that are starters on the team. Questions that we ask them are, how do you think practice went this week? Or what are some things that you need to improve on? Or what does your position need to improve on for Saturday's game? We'll also talk about kind of the challenges and stresses of being a student and an athlete, because they have a lot on their plate right now. So we'll talk about that. We'll just get some bites from them, some sound bites where they say, it's great to be a Tennessee Vol. Here's the challenges that we're facing. This is how we're going to get there, and we will get there on Saturday. And it's tough. It's been interesting because we have interviewed a lot of players after losses. So we have to spin a positive story, because I do work for the university. I'm not a local reporter. We have to talk about the positive things about Tennessee. So, there are always positive things. It's just a little bit more challenging because we haven't been winning as much on the field. So we have to dig a little deeper and kind of set up those questions so they'll answer in a positive way.
Okay, so tell me, can you elaborate on the positives of the job and then the kind of the challenges of the job?
Absolutely. The positives are, I'm on the sideline, I'm in practice, and that's the best thing about this job, I think, is that I get to be where a lot of fans want to be. So that's always my goal, I guess, and my objective is to demonstrate what fans want to see. So I'm on the sideline, I have the inside scoop, so I want to tell fans, this is what happens, in practice. This is what happens on the sideline. This is what happens in the locker room. So that's probably the best part. A challenge is, like I said, coming up with a positive story despite a loss. So we deal with some players who are down, who don't really want to talk to us. Some of the coaches, they're always willing to talk, but they may not have a whole lot of positive things to say. So we have to spin our questions where they will think of something positive and just talk about the great things about Tennessee. We talk a lot about tradition. We talk a lot about the legacy of Tennessee, because that is one thing that we're really strong in, and we like to help the coaches out and give them some great things to talk about.
Speaking of success and positivity, what is your kind of path to success?
Ultimately, I would love to be a sideline reporter for a network. So the path to get there for me has been going through undergrad, so working in camera operations, all those things that I said, like streaming and the graphics and interviewing coaches of the smaller teams, and then working myself up to football. So football is kind of like the glam sport, I would say, of Tennessee. So being able to talk to those coaches and those players is definitely a blessing and a benefit for me because that is what I want to do later on. I've done a little bit with radio, which is a different side of broadcasting that I like. I mean, it's helped me a lot, I think, just because I'm dealing with no picture, so it's all audio. So that's been interesting. Talking to fans and things like that is really cool on radio. So another thing that I think is going to help me get to a network, which is where I want to be, is when they come into Tennessee for a game, for a big weekend. I'm always trying to meet up with them. I'm always trying to set up, maybe not an interview, but just a, hey, I'm Sara Mitchell, this is kind of what I want to do. Also, one thing is making my tape and sending it out. I've probably sent it out, oh gosh, so many times. Like just interviews and emails. I always follow up with people just to say thanks, great to meet you. Next time you're in Knoxville, remember that I'm here and I would love to see you. So those are some of the things that are pretty basic, but have helped me get to where I am now and hopefully will launch me to the sideline somewhere.
Okay. Also, what do you think if somebody wanted to be in your shoes, what do you think it's necessary for them to do to kind of get where you are and kind of follow in your footsteps?
I would say volunteering. It all starts with you got to do the dirty things first. So not the glamour. You have to stand behind the camera. You have to freeze your hands off at a baseball game, and it's 3 games in a weekend. I did that so many times, and I thought I will never get to the sideline, which is where I want to be. I want to be interviewing the coaches, but I'm here freezing my tail off, holding the camera because the tripod is broken, or I don't have a radio to know what's going on up in the booth. So all of those challenges and those difficulties that you have to go through, I think that's what gets you to be successful because you have to know what everyone is doing. So now, because I am on the sideline, I'm doing those things, I know the importance of those people holding the cables, and I know what it feels like to be out there in the freezing cold or the dead of summer, doing the hard things. So I think you have to have an appreciation for every level because a lot of people want this job and there's only a small amount. So you have to know what it's like to be on those different tiers.
Okay, and then we'll just finish up with, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh man, in 10 years, I would love to be with ESPN or Fox Sports, sideline reporter or anchoring. I think it's kind of a process that you go through, so maybe like in the next 5 years, I could see myself college football, college baseball, and then work myself up in 10 years, hopefully to sideline reporter or an anchor spot.
All right, thank you so much, Sara. Appreciate you.
Thank you.